evening and welcome to the Boiling Point podcast. This is Mariana with my co-host Denise, and today we are interviewing two warriors of the West Shore School District, two parents that went toe to toe with the West Shore School District and won. And that will be Brandi and Oliver. Now, if I correct me if I misspell or mispronounce your name because you know Puerto Rican, right? Brando, am I correct?
Yes, that's right.
Woohoo! I got it with no accent. Okay, great. So, these are the parents that we have spoken many a times about and made reference to many a times about here in the Boiling Point podcast, and they're the parents that sued about the social emotional learning curriculum that the West Shore School District and other schools across the country has embraced. So, Brandy and Oliver, can you give us an insight of how this your whole ordeal started, and that led you to the victory that you had?
Well,
Yes,
it started when, they said that we would be able to look at this curriculum. I mean, even before that, I was not real happy about it. I was writing into the school board and urging them to not adopt this curriculum or have an opt-in process instead of an opt-out process, because it's not a one fits all type of one curriculum. And two, is kind of, I guess you'd say, irritating having to opt our kids out of everything that they're trying to do.
That is correct, and that's something that we are currently fighting at the West Shore School District about them giving us the ability to opt in our kids versus opt out. And the reason they do it opt out is because of the monies that's involved in it. There's certain programs and certain curriculums that you have to have X amount of student in there to get the funding. Okay, and if the parents do not opt in these kids, they don't get the money. Okay, or they're not allowed to put the curriculum in place. So the way they do it in the West Shore School District, the way Tostos does it, is that everybody is opt in and it's your responsibility to opt out. Problem is that sometimes they don't give the parents sufficient notice to be able to opt out these kids from these curriculums, and they make you jump through hoops. And correct me if I'm wrong, they make you jump through hoops before they allow you to see the curriculum. So can you guys explain to us what this curriculum is about and what exactly is it that you did not agree with when it came to the social emotional learning curriculum?
So when we started looking through it, I mean, I went clear back to like their lessons for preschoolers. And one of the very first lessons was, what do you want to be called?
Mm.
Like, they all have names, the names that they
Mm-hmm.
were given, the names that they were enrolled in school with. That's what they should be using. Now, granted, if your name is like Jason and you go by Jay, or it's Jonathan and you go by John, that's a little different. But if your name is David and you want to go by Susan, that's, a little different.
I feel like it was a very open-ended curriculum to where on the surface it looked fine. Like, your kindergarten, first grade, what's your name? What do you want us to call you? Like she said, John, Johnny, whatever. But the way it was worded, I don't remember specifically, but the way it was worded, it left it very open-ended to the teacher to
Interpret it however they want it.
interpret it and manipulate it how they want, to where they could continue that conversation into, do you want to be something, do you want to be called something at school that you're not allowed to be called at home?
Mm.
And
Ooh.
there was an avenue that they're taking to bypass the parents, and where they didn't, and they bury it. They make sure that it's not on the surface, and that they're not going to tell you that they're going to.
And they only give you
sure
a little bit to look at.
Yeah.
You don't get to look at everything. They're like, oh,
You're
yeah,
not getting full
everything.
disclosure of
But it's
everything.
not.
It's
You have
required.
to read the lines too, because it's not like, it's not like blatant, like oh, hey, we're going to ask the kids if they be Johnny or Susie. But like I said, it's very open ended, and there wasn't. I didn't feel that it was. Well, we both didn't feel that it was something that a school should be teaching.
Correct. Now,
go ahead.
go on, Brandy. Go ahead.
And it just wasn't even that. Like, she was in 4th grade at the time, and some of the things that they wanted to do was play Never Have I Ever. And the questions were absolutely ridiculous. Like, have your parents ever lied for you? Have you ever lied on your reading log? Have you ever like read or not read and filled out the paper? Like, to me, that's inappropriate.
Wow, well, it is inappropriate. It is.
And they seemed like they were digging for information on the home. Wasn't there questions about whether or not there was firearms in your house?
Yes. Like, so one of the things that really stuck out to us was Carolyn has an older brother who has mental health issues. So for a long time, for years, up until very recently, he was very violent at times. And I mean, we had police here for safety because we had to.
Right.
You know, and one of the things was, you know, sitting in a circle and talking about things that happen at your house. You know, that's a lot for Carolyn to witness in the first place, but to put that then on another child is not okay.
Not only that, at that age, it was, what, 2nd grade, 3rd grade?
She was in 4th.
Wow. You know, what I'm concerned. Okay, so we are freezing up a little bit. Okay, I'm sorry. You were saying that she was in what grade? 2nd?
4th.
She was in 4th grade, but you know, like what Brandi was saying, like stuff with her brother. If she was sharing something innocently about something that happened and didn't know how to explain it fully, wrong. You know, next thing you know, you've got people knocking on your door and everything else for something that's already handled. That's, you know, and I mean, if she's issues or things that she needs to deal with, like while she's at school, like there's counselors at school for a reason. She can go to a counselor and talk to a counselor. She doesn't need to share it in a group with her teacher and all her friends at school. That's something that should be done in private. And I have no problem with seeing a school counselor. But I just feel like they were digging for information that was way beyond what a school, especially the grade level that they were in, should even be trying to. And, you know, they manipulate it as, we just want everybody to be nice to each other. And then because we disagree with this curriculum, it's, oh, well, you don't want your kids to be nice.
She is one of the most kind-hearted, caring. That's the issue.
And see, being kind. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, because I'm hearing the same from, you know, family members, little ones, younger ones, I should say, that they have to be nice to, you know, to be all inclusive. And I said, well, have to is a bit strong. I said, you can always be kind, you know, and polite. I said, but being nice, It's different than being
Right,
kind.
and
Like they're very similar. Like I was, and he was understanding me. So it's just they leave stuff open ended like that. That's a very common tactic that they do frequently, and the level of deception underneath, like you said, things are buried. They know parents are tired, don't have a lot of time, so they will bury stuff in there and leave it open ended
right.
and ambiguous, which gives it it could be double meanings, triple meanings. Like you said, you just don't know how they're gonna interpret it. And if you're, having some conflicts at home, like with the kids at certain ages and there's special needs involved, like you said, that should be something that she should be able to go to the counselor in private with her rights to privacy protected to talk to the counselor one-on-one if she needs support, and not for any child. But so that's really all I wanted to say.
What concerns me about this whole thing here is something that Oliver was saying. Okay. He was saying how they are prying into what's happening in the homes of these parents. Okay. Because really, is there guns in the house? As Americans, we are allowed to have guns in our homes. Okay. That is one of our rights, one of our inherent rights. Okay. The other thing is,
Mhm.
what you stated is reminding me of this mental health evaluation that they're pushing on the 7th to ninth graders. Because I don't know, Brandy,
Mhm.
if you saw some of the questions on that evaluation that I have posted. One of them is there guns in the house? Now, they don't ask, are your parents hunters? Okay. Okay. So if
Right.
there's
Right.
they're hunters, there's going to be guns in the house. They're asking, are there guns in the house? Okay. So they're crossing a line into our homes. Do your parents argue? And then to discuss this among the other students, that's not
Right.
acceptable. And by what you started saying, what do they want to be called? It's as though they have also within, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you know more about it than I do. But it sounded to me as though they took the social emotional learning and they married it or intertwined it with the LGBTQ, with the pronouns. Am
Mhm.
I correct?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, when you guys became vocal, right?
hmm
Who did you first approach? Did you approach administration or did you approach the board?
I approached the school principal because that's
Okay.
who I had asked for the link, and I'm actually pulling it up here so I can actually get exactly what um, was in, because I still have the family link for the curriculum,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I can still go back and look at any time.
There's a
So
percent button. I don't know if you see it from your side on the bottom.
What?
Like if you
mm-mm.
want to share a screen, you don't see it. Okay,
No,
because
it's on my phone,
okay,
so I'm looking as we're talking. Um, but it's just even in the higher grades, it was a lot of reflecting on like having an online presence on social media. To be quite honest, neither of my kids have a phone. Caden's 17 and she's 11.
okay.
You know, I mean, Caden's is just Caden, but I'm not giving an 11-year-old a phone.
And you're
I mean,
right.
if she gets on her laptop or her
Okay.
iPad for school, I know what she's doing. 9 times out of 10, she's looking at horse videos or funny cat videos. But that's it. So, we actually had to have conversations with both kids about what this curriculum was and what it was trying to do, and explain, you know, our view on it. And when we tried to discuss with them, you have people that were born a boy that would like to be a girl, and you have people that were born girls that would like to be boys, and they're both like, what? Why? Because that's what they feel like doing. But that doesn't mean that you're mean to them. That doesn't mean that you disrespect them, that's their choice to do that. That's not how
Correct.
we're raising you.
And I would give them the example that I actually worked with a transgender person at uh, my job, and I didn't interact with them much, but when I did, very nice person, very kind. I was kind, and you know, I did what I needed to do. Interacting with my job, and I wasn't mean. I didn't discriminate. Like, not my choice. I wouldn't have done it, but that's their choice, and they're an adult, so whatever. But I made that comparison that even though I don't agree with it, I'm still nice to these people. I'm still. You can't be mean to somebody just because of that,
Correct.
but it doesn't mean that you have to accept that for your life. Like, you don't have to say, well, yeah, I'm 100% on board. I support this. You don't have to do that. If that's not what you believe, you don't have to do that. And that is not at all what we believe. And with the social emotional learning, I think, like you said, they're trying to wrap all that in there, and they're trying to put it in slowly. So the lower grades, you saw a lot less of it, and it was a lot more of just being friends, being nice to people, where they would go around the room and say a kind thing about each other. I mean, on the surface, again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's what it could lead into that I had more of the issue with.
So when you approached the administration with your
Mhm.
concerns, what was their reaction towards what you were saying?
Well, it was all done through email, so I had a paper trail. So she had responded with that I needed to fill out the religious exemption. And when I did, I had, it was just very simple. And then I had responded, like I filled out the top of it and I had responded with a separate piece of paper. And that wasn't good enough for them. So it got kicked back. It was denied. So when I responded the second time, I filled the entire paper out, and in the block where you're supposed to write about why you want to opt out, I wrote "see attached paper" real big
Okay.
across it, because I grew up in a Church of God, and then that was when I was at my dad's house, and I was at my mom's house. We went to a non-denominational. He grew up Seventh-day Adventist, so
Okay.
he pulled out one of his books from.
Hold on, before that. So the first time they denied it, they came back and they said they wanted to know which lessons we wanted to opt her
Yeah, they
out
wanted
of.
us to pick it apart.
They literally wanted us to go through it lesson by lesson, page by page, and say, this paragraph I don't agree with, this paragraph I don't agree with. I'm good with everything, but in my response, I think my comment was, so you're going to keep her in class, and then when you get to that paragraph, you're going to stop? I mean, that makes no sense at all. Like, no, we don't want any of it.
So that's when Allison had told us to get in touch with Nicholas Berry at American First Legal. So I had a
Now, Allison, who is that? The Allison from Moms for Liberty?
yes.
Okay, I know who you're talking about. Okay.
And so she got me hooked up with him, and I asked him what I needed to write. And he said, all I need to write is pursuant to 22 PA Code 4.4 and Board Policy 1053, I'm opting Carolyn Brandel out of Character Strong classroom lessons for the Character Strong curriculum. This opt-out is because Character Strong conflicts with our religious beliefs. He said, you don't have to put anything else.
Correct.
That's correct. You do not need to approve anything or get a letter from your
I went a step
pastor or
further.
whatever.
I did. I went a step further.
Okay.
So he had pulled out Seventh Day Adventist Believe book. It's 27 biblical fundamental doctrines, throughout there. And it says the home is the primary setting for the restoration of the image of God in men and women. Within the family, father, mother, and children can express themselves fully, meeting each other's needs for belonging, love, and intimacy. Here, identity is established and feelings of personal worth are developed. The home is a place where, by God's grace, these principles of real Christianity are put into practice and its values transmitted from one generation to the next. And they denied it.
Now, did they give you a reason why they denied it?
Nope.
Well, they just
Oh
said
my
it
goodness.
again.
I didn't
that-
pick apart the curriculum.
Yes, because we didn't put in what parts of the curriculum that we wanted to opt her out of. They said the same thing. And then
And even Nicholas even said, you don't have to pick it apart because it is the entire curriculum that you want her out of. It's not like
Correct.
it's a science class. It's not like, they're dissecting frogs, and God forbid she ever have to dissect a frog. Like, it's not something that she has to have to graduate.
Right. This is very disturbing because it is happening nationwide. But I can tell you that here in the West Shore School District, like I was stating before, when a parent decides to opt out a child, or a parent has a issue with a curriculum, if you get to see the curriculum, because that's a battle in itself to get to see the
It
curriculum,
is.
or you have an issue with what's in the library, they make you jump through these hoops. And unfortunately, it's getting to a point that, and I said it before and I'll say it again, that unless a parent or a group of people decide to sue the West Shore School District or the administration, because the problem actually lies within the administration, because they make things very difficult. It's not unless until we're suing that we see any kind of reaction, and that shouldn't be. We have, as parents, inherent rights over our kids. We have authority over our kids. We have authority and say as to what we want our children to learn and to be exposed to. But like I stated before, the administration in the West Shore School District has an issue with parental rights. They want to be the parent. And no,
Mhm.
we are the parent. We are the ones responsible, not the school, okay, in making our children responsible citizens of the United States, responsible Christians, well behaved, well mannered, caring individuals. And this social emotional learning curriculum want to take, okay, they want to take the position of the parent. The state that's pushing this wants to take the position of the parent and indoctrinate our kids in what they are to think. Granted, none of us have an issue if you're transgender, if you're LGBTQ, and listen, that's the life that you want to live. This is America. You can do whatever you want to do. The problem is now when you're trying to push it on us, okay, and push it on our children. So after the denial, Brandi and Oliver, what happened? What did you guys do? You went to the attorney again,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
what happened at that point?
I let him know that they denied it a second time. And I had resubmitted it. And then that's when I had questioned the board.
Okay.
I asked
Now I'm
them.
going to show a picture, if you allow me, of the board
Mhm.
members that were in place when this happened, because we want to make very clear we know exactly who these board members were at the time. And if anybody that you see on these pictures were not there, please let me know, okay?
Mhm.
All right. So we had the president at the time when all this occurred was Brian Geiswhite. Then we had the vice president at the time, which was Christopher Cambick. We had Judy Krasinski, Frank Cambick, Sherry Moyer, Frederick Stoltenberg, that I can honestly say his behavior towards this family was disgusting on social media when they decided to fight for the rights of their children. We had Miss Heidi Thomas and we had Abigail Tierney. Continue, Brandi, please. What happened when you approached the board?
So Dr. Stoltz was also included in this. And so
He's the superintendent.
yes, and so was the assistant superintendent at the time, Jamie Y.
Okay.
So once I had submitted it again, and I then started questioning the board how these decisions are made and how they can pick one religion over another. and I got no response back.
From none of them.
So Nicholas was in the process of trying to find, because I believe they're out of Tennessee. So he was trying to find an attorney within Pennsylvania to take on this case. And he had one picked out, but they were up north and they were dealing because the 2020 election had happened and there was a lot of ballot issues up north.
Mhm.
So this attorney was stuck in that. So he found Wally Zimlong out of Villanova. And very quickly he started questioning, I gave him every single correspondence I had between the school board, between the principal, and he very quickly said that this is not okay. So, and it wasn't just us. There was also another family that was on the case as well. And her case is a little bit different than ours because theirs was approved and then it was pulled back.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't even know they could
And-
do that.
Yes.
And
And it was, she wasn't the only one that happened to.
the other issue was
Dora had that happen to her as well.
Oh.
Because she stood up at the board
I did
meeting
not
and
know
said, we can only tell why mine was approved because she was a woman of color standing there.
Okay.
And then after that, they revoked her exemption.
Really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
And
did
there
not
was
know
a
that.
couple other families that they actually approved theirs, but I don't know the details, but I think they probably put some detail in as far as like the what parts of the curriculum they wanted out. But I mean,
We wanted her involved in no parts of it.
they were
Okay.
denying us, and other families they were approving. There were some families that they didn't even give near the explanation that we gave, and they approved it. And so that was the issue. It's not across the board. You're not denying everybody. You're picking and choosing who you want to deny.
And there was a lot of the people who were very outspoken of
Mhm.
not wanting this. I mean, that's how it felt. Whether it was truly that way or not, I don't know, but that's truly how it felt. So,
Well, that's what it seems like.
yeah. So throughout everything, there were some other issues because if you look at that policy for 105.3, it actually states that the students are supposed to dismiss themselves.
Okay. What do you mean
I
the
offered
students are
my
supposed to
daughter
dismiss
to
themselves?
go get ice cream to get up and walk out of class. Do you think she did? No, because that's not her.
What they mean is, so if they were going to approve our exemption, then
It was Carolyn's responsibility
it
to
was
get up and
her-
leave class.
Yes, it was her responsibility to say, okay, social emotional learning is starting. I need to get up. I need to leave. And the kind of person she is, she's not going to do that. She's not going to draw attention to herself. So,
And
she's
how
how
old
old
was
at
she
this
when that
point?
happened?
She's 11 now. So this was
No, when it happened.
no, 9.
yeah, 8 or 9.
Wow.
And it's not just her. I mean,
Like if
There's
you
a
have
lot of
if you have a
kids
child
that-
in kindergarten who doesn't truly know how the system works, and they're going to start teaching this lesson, that kindergartner is supposed to get up and excuse themselves from class? I don't think so.
Correct. They wouldn't know at what point to get up and walk out.
So
'Cause,
that was
all this
another
is
thing
new
that
to
we
them.
were fighting because it should not be on the student to get up and leave class. The teacher should dismiss them. That should be how it is. So
Correct. That's the way it's been done for centuries.
so if you look at the ruling that finally came down, because they were adamant, like we were in discovery phase, like they were going to fight this tooth and nail until they realized what was actually happening. And that was some were being approved, some are not, and they had no explanation why.
they
Not
never-
even in
Whoops.
court they had an explanation why.
Nope. I have every email between the solicitor, Brooke Say, and Wally Zimlog, down to
Mm.
her being removed from the case and another attorney from that office taking over.
So Brooke Say was removed.
Hmm.
Why was she removed, if you don't mind me asking?
I believe it had to do something with her husband being in a car accident, and it was
Okay.
taking her time away from being able to do this. But
Okay.
if she would have looked at everything, if she would have asked the assistant superintendent who's in charge of approving these or denying them, she would have seen, well, these are approved, these aren't. Why?
She wasn't doing her job because she wasn't taking it seriously. Because a lot of the parents in the West Shore, there was a whole big hoopla about removing Brooke Say. But listen, the parents of the West Shore School District, the majority, did not want her as a solicitor. A solicitor is supposed to advise the board, okay, as to the laws. Okay, this can get you in trouble. This cannot
Mm-hmm.
get you in trouble. And obviously, just by this, by what happened here, she dropped the ball. Because if
Mm-hmm.
you're not seeing how people's parental rights, okay, are being violated, and you don't see how religious rights are being violated, inherent rights are being violated, and I wonder sometimes if she's even familiar with the Constitution, um, none of this would
She
have
was too
occurred.
busy fighting you,
I mean,
which is
it was to the point they
interesting.
were trying to put a gag order on us not to speak.
Wow.
Yeah, we had
That's
Really?
terrible. Shame
That was
on them.
denied,
we
but
had
we weren't the ones speaking out. It was everyone attacking us.
Of course.
yeah, it was
And
Yes,
then
just
because
well,
I
you're the
know
bad guys, right?
when I
Oh
became
man, the
familiar with
tactic.
your case, when I became familiar with your case, I was entering my own battle with the West Shore School District over these, pornographic library books that are still there. And I remember Christy told me, "Well, have you heard about Brandy?" I'm like, "Brandy? What are you talking? It's about social emotional learning." I'm like, "What about it?" And then she told me about the lawsuit. Okay, so when I remember listening, okay, to the battle that you guys were having, I went online, and again, I'll put the picture again, okay. With the exception of Heidi Thomas, every other person that you see here, okay, and the most egregious was Frederick Stoltenberg, was bashing this family, and I'm like, why are they being so vicious? And what they were saying, if we remember, was like, oh, this is the face that I make, and he had this face like in shock when somebody tells me that they are a Christian and they have no empathy. Okay, I was trying to find for that clip because I had it. I'm not sure where I put it, but what disgusts me, what actually disgusts me, is how they want to gag you, okay, but they're on social media, I mean, running the lips
mhm,
on things and spinning it, giving it a spin that's not true. It's not about a Christian not having empathy. Okay.
Mm-mm.
It's not about empathy at all. It's about you indoctrinating our kids, okay, under the guise of social emotional learning, trying to teach my child what I need to teach my child how to be a good citizen, and
right.
indoctrinating them with this LGBTQ pronoun and everything that we see going on right now. So it was another tool of indoctrination. So I was surprised how the school board members at the time, okay, were attacking you guys. Okay, they were the ones spreading everything on social media and giving it a false narrative, misinformation, fake news, like Donald Trump would say, okay, in order to smear you guys and deflect and gaslight the community to make them believe that it was something other than what it was.
Hmm.
Yes.
So, moving along with this lawsuit, what happened?
So it was the middle of her fifth grade year, I want to say, that this all came finally to a head, and um, that we had to have a discussion of would we accept this offer, and it was that our kids are opt out of it. We have to opt out every year, which I still don't understand that part of it, because what is going to change from year to year that we do not want them to participate in this type of curriculum?
Correct. I agree with you.
Um, that And another issue that we had too was they were just sending her to the hallway.
Yeah, that was the big issue that I had.
So my problem with that is they always talk about the safety of the schools. Yes, I understand the school is locked down, all the doors are locked, but 9 times out of 10, it's a parent that comes in or somebody that is able to get through the doors without any question that they have an issue when they get in there.
So
So at the time, her
let me get this.
classroom,
They were sending her to the hallway,
yes,
not
Is
a library,
I was told
not
she couldn't go
another.
to the library because it
So
wasn't opened every day in elementary school.
they couldn't send her to an art class. Somebody else could take her to her art class, or okay. So okay,
So
before I have
that
a
was
fit,
fourth grade.
what was she doing in the hallway?
I think she was reading.
that didn't
Okay.
last very long
That
because
didn't last very long because we got made it through fourth grade.
well, we let Wally know and he shut that
Yeah.
down real quick.
So that was part of the issue. Like they need to have a designated place to go because if there were to be an emergency within the school, they're sitting ducks in the hallway.
Correct. They were endangering her
So
in essence.
they told us that at Highland the library was not open every day, so that was not an option. I don't understand why the library is not open every day. So that wasn't an option. So she finished out the fourth grade year in the hallway. When we started fifth grade, I had a very frank conversation with Miss Shara about where she was going to go this year because the hallway was unacceptable. And she was not going to go to the office either because
Correct.
you go to the office when you're in trouble and she's not in trouble. So they found a second grade classroom for her to go to help out during that time, which was perfectly fine.
Yeah, and she actually really liked it.
Yeah, she really enjoyed it. So that was fine. So it was, we got them opted out. It is in the lawsuit that in grades K through 8, the teachers must dismiss the kids because there is
Okay.
no curriculum in the high school.
Oh, it's in there.
Oh, we
It's
know. I
involved and
tried
mixed up
telling
with other
them.
stuff. Yes, definitely in there.
Yeah, I did. I tried telling them, but there's no official like character strong in the high school,
They probably
is
named it
what we
something
were told.
else. Because my
Yes.
boys are in high school and they've come home with a lot of that social emotional learning
Mm-hmm.
mess. Because when they walk into the doors, I'm like, sit down, okay, let's talk. I'm gonna deprogram you fast. So no,
Right.
that social emotional learning, critical race theory, and DEI is all in the school. And some
Yes.
of the stuff that come out of their mouth, I'm like, what did you just say? And I have to
Right.
sit them down and correct them. So no, it is there, and right, and it's even in the elementary school still. And
Mm-hmm.
this is okay. So even before I get into the other, because I'm gonna flip in a minute. Wow, I'm just like I'm bothered at the fact that she had to sit in the hallway reading a book because
Mm-hmm.
even if somebody doesn't walk into the school, let's say, to with a nefarious
Right.
agenda. I mean, we still have children, and I hate saying it, but it's the reality of life. We still have children that have mental disorders.
Mm-hmm.
And she could have been hurt. Let's put it. I mean, this is totally irresponsible. I mean, she could have been hurt.
Mm.
So, all right. So you guys go to court, and I'm gonna just show some slides here for the parents. Okay, this is the first one that we started with when they came in. This is the case number. Okay, and the name of the case. This is what they have the problem. The West Shore School District Social Emotional Learning Curriculum teaches children virtues and values that go against the belief of Christian parents in the school district. That's correct. The parents requested that their children be excused from this social emotional learning curriculum as it does not reflect the values, morals, and belief in the parents' religion. Correct. After initially accepting the religious exemption, the school district reversed its course and informed the parents that they would not honor the right to have the children excused from the SEL curriculum. AFL sued the West Shore School District in order to protect parental rights to decide what is being taught to the children in public schools. And the result? the victory. The parents of the West Shore School District were able to opt out their children out of the social emotional learning curriculum present in their school due to their religious exemption. Now, I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
When let's get back to the denial because I'm still trying to wrap my head around that part. The denial. So they deny you, okay? Who denied you? Was it Todd Stokes?
No, it was Jamie Y,
Okay, so she was the assistant
assistant
superintendent.
superintendent.
So in that sense, the assistant superintendent, they have to take orders from the superintendent. So it still comes down to the administration. Okay, because the
Mhm.
administrator, I mean, he can't say, "Well, I didn't know about this. I was eating a taco on the side." Okay, because I'm sure that our taco eating monster knew about this. So they denied you. Okay,
Yes.
all right. Now you win, but the clause here is that you have to exempt your child every year. That is
Yes.
ridiculous because if you won, okay, nobody should have to, opt out their kids every year. There should be a
Right.
clause they won, and this is no longer, opt out is opt in. So we're still in that battle.
Right.
You guys won, but we're still in that battle. Am I correct to say that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so now
So
that my
so
part,
there's a little more though, because
okay,
I wanted that policy to be changed.
okay,
I wanted it to be changed for the entire district. If you opt out of something, the teacher needs to dismiss you.
correct.
Because what happens if they're like, okay, well, this is up next, but you leave and they start discussing something that you should have been there for.
Correct.
I mean,
So did you approach administration with that
I
or your lawyer
I
or
brought
somebody?
it to Wally's attention, and he said that legally we can't force them to change the policy, but it is in the final order that they are not to allow the children to dismiss themselves.
So they have to dismiss them
Mm-hmm.
The teacher has to
because
dismiss them.
due to the final order. Now, is that what's happening though?
Yes, Carolyn is dismissed to go to the library, which
Okay.
is a whole nother thing because come sixth grade, the the principal, I kind of took him by surprise at back to school night, and or it was even before that, we toured the school for the first time, and I wanted to know what
Is
he
that this
was.
guy Granger?
Yes,
The one that can't control the violence in his school?
yes, there was just a fight the other
Enlighten me. What
day.
happened?
So I walked right up to him, and Carolyn is sitting at the table going, "Oh my gosh, mom." I walked right up to him and I wanted to know what the plans were for her because it took them over a week to approve my exemption. Where Christy, when she put hers in, it was done in a few hours. It took over a
Okay,
week.
okay, 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 okay,
And I
okay.
asked
My
twice.
heart, my heart. I haven't taken my heart pills. So, okay, so you won. You won the lawsuit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you still have to wait for your exemption to be approved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is
It has to
anybody
be in by the first day
hearing
of school.
this?
They're
Parents of
putting
the
it.
West Shore School District, are you hearing this mess? They won, so it should be an automatic exemption, and they still have to submit these papers and wait to see if they're approved. Can somebody did the cheese fall off the cracker with these people? Did the cheese fall off the cracker? I mean,
And it's
what is
not
happening with the
just,
West Shore?
and they want me to, I don't agree with it, but if they want me to fill out the paper every year, I fill out the paper. I literally white out the date because I'm not filling anything else out. Nothing's changed.
Right.
I change the date on it and resubmit it.
Now,
But I don't
amuse me on
understand why
something.
it's taking over a week.
It shouldn't. It should be automatic. If
It should
anything,
be.
her chart should be flagged that this is the
Right.
child that won the lawsuit. She is automatically exempted because if I read these papers and I am not a lawyer, I'm gonna look at them like, listen, bozo number 1 and bozo number 2, what part of this aren't you getting? Okay, so that should be flagged. And furthermore, this thing of sitting in the library, that has me sick because they should have an alternate syllabus for her
They
during
should.
that time where she can study. So,
She she
I'm,
does
I'm missing something here.
she works on any projects that she needs to get done. She'll
Okay.
do
She gets help.
she does get extra help. I know Miss Bigeman is not a fan, or you're not a fan of hers, but she has helped Carolyn through some of the stuff she was struggling with,
Okay.
education wise. So that was great. Um, so when I approached him and I asked him what the plan was this year, since she has opted out of Character Strong, I didn't tell him my name. I didn't tell him Carolyn's name. I I was just not going to put up with the bullcrap this year. I just wasn't
Right.
going to do it.
He looks scared.
He did. He looked kind of scared. And he's like, hold on, wait a minute. Who are you? So I told him who I was. Okay, so as far as I know, there's 2 kids, and there's probably more, but there were 2 kids within that coming into that school that were on this lawsuit.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So he should have known who those 2 kids were, because the parents were going to be approaching you.
And not only that, he's friends with some of these, characters. I'm trying to be nice. Some of these characters on the school board. Okay, so you're not gonna sit there and tell me that he's friend with the taco eating dragon that he doesn't know who you are.
Right.
Okay.
So I asked him what the plan was for her, where she was going to go, and he had no idea.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Isn't that
It was a week-
stunning? They didn't even communicate the
It was a week
paperwork
before
with him
school
to
started,
make
and
sure
he had
can
no
make
idea.
arrangements.
So when I went, we then like toured the classroom and stuff, and her teacher was in there. I asked what the plan was, and she said, I don't know.
Oh my.
That's just stunning.
Yeah,
Wow.
the information wasn't even given to her.
Like she had no idea she was even exempt.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Are we living in the Twilight Zone?
So then it gets better because, you know, we recently found out that the HMH curriculum is full of
Social emotional
learning. So I had requested to see all material. And they're like, well, you need to come down and you need to look at it. I mean, I don't have time to come down and look at it. I literally open my business at 6 a.m. and I'm lucky if all my kids are gone by 6 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
There's no room for me to.
And why are they making it this difficult? Why? I mean, first and foremost, they know who you are. You're not going to tell me that these bunch of bozos did not read. I mean, some of the things that we had here. I mean, this was like the talk of town for a while. Every pink hair citizen that we have in Cumberland County was out there talking about and having a fit about the social emotional learning. It is public record, so you're not going to tell me that they didn't know.
Too. They were like attacking us over wanting money. That would have been great. We saw nothing.
It has nothing to do with money. This had nothing to
do with money. Other than the district having to pay $40,000 in legal
and they
fees.
should have paid more. Honestly, how many years did this thing take? How many years were you involved in litigation?
Not only that, but American First Legal, I believe, picked up some of it because Wally was doing it at a discount. So it should have been more.
Correct. Most definitely. Most definitely. I mean, and now I remember, I remember, you see, I'm a stinker, guys. I'm going to let you know. I am Mrs. Pepe Le Pew. Okay, look, see, Pepe Le Pew. Okay, so that being stated, I remember when I was running for school board, okay, that all this rumble, the social emotional learning was behind it, okay, because there were words that they're probably going to settle, and they did not want word of the social emotional learning lawsuit to come out because they were afraid that many of them were going to lose their seats, okay. And then here I come. You see, I had nothing to lose. I was a write-in candidate. So what was the first thing that I did? I got on the computer and I put the truth of the social emotional learning lawsuit, what I knew at the time, what was happening in the West Shore School District that a lot of people in Cumberland County did not know, because on election day day, a lot of people tell me we would not have known, Mariana, that this was happening unless until you put everything out, on
Right.
social media. Okay. And it's interesting to see that after the election was over and the people that lost their seat, that should have lost their seat, okay, lost their seat. Okay. That's when they decided to settle with them. Okay. Then
Yes,
it
and it was
became,
very
yeah.
quick. It was like a very, this, and it was pushed real quick, and it was first and seconded, and that was it. That was the end of it.
And then we hear the aftermath, and the aftermath was that they were doing this for money. But let's talk about this. This is parents protecting their children. That is their right as parents to protect their children and raise their children accordingly to their values, okay, to their morality, to their beliefs. But now we have these pink hair freaks out here, okay, with this bogus Sunshine Act, because I know that everybody heard about that,
Yeah.
okay, and costing the taxpayer money over a bogus lawsuit. And I know why I'm saying it, because Right to Knows, Brandi, are really something. One day I'll share it with you. Right to Knows are really something, guys. That's what I'm going to say right now. But anyway, but these people who are fighting for the rights of their kids, okay, are mocked, ridiculed by the school board members, okay, verbally attacked, and now they're costing us taxpayer money. No, I'm going to give you guys a glimpse, okay, just a glimpse of who cost you the taxpayer money. You guys ready? Brace yourself, Effie. You see that man right there? That he looks like he's sucking a lemon? That man right there on the left? That's
You know
Brian
what's
Guy's wife.
funny? You know what's funny about him? So he was like
Everything.
MIA for weeks.
Hmm.
Weeks. I emailed the board and asked if he was still on it because he has been absent. It was like 2 months and he wasn't there.
I remember that. I
What, you
do.
mean this
I
year?
did.
You mean this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Well,
was he was MIA. Yeah, he
yeah.
was. He was sucking a lemon because
Yeah.
he was upset that he's no longer the president. And if he's no longer the president, this is part of it. What happened with social emotional learning. And hopefully we can get old Lemonhead out of that seat this year because he does not deserve that seat. And like Brandi was saying, this year he was, and you're absolutely right. He was absent, I
He
would
got up and
say
left the
about,
meeting,
if
and that
not
was the last
50%,
anybody
close
saw
to
of him.
50%. Yeah, he went MIA. Definitely, definitely. But that is the person that is responsible, okay, for the social emotional learning, because he should have taken the taco eating dragon who he's friend with, okay, give him a taco or take away a taco and tell him this is the way it goes. This is her rights. You're, violating her
Mhm.
parental rights. You're violating her constitutional rights, and she has the right to pull her child out. So take all these exemptions and approve it. But that wasn't done either because of the chip in the shoulder that it's what we want, and now you're playing Mr. and Mrs. Brando. You're playing without federal funding, without state funding. So I'm sorry, I'm selling your kids, but we're gonna implement it whether you like it or not. And parents, somebody called me the Alex Jones of the of social media here of the West Coast. I don't know if I am or I'm not, but I am going to tell you something. This is the kind of people that we need, okay, and parents to come up and be as bold as they were to protect your kids and to protect your rights. Because if you do not, these dragons here will have your children alive, and you're not going to recognize your kids the moment they walk in through them doors with the indoctrination that social emotional learning, CRT, or this DEI stuff is doing on our children. And I congratulate them. This is a family that I respect for having the backbone to face these demons, and thank God win. So what else has been happening since you guys won? Because I'm getting wind up. I'm gonna have some water.
So once we found out that the HMH curriculum has all this social emotional learning in it, and I had questioned about it, and I questioned to see everything, and they told me I had to come in, and I said that wasn't an option. Why can't it be digital?
Mm-hmm.
So Mr. Gay wanted to reach out to the teacher and see what we could work out.
Okay.
So I currently have the 2 6th grade reading books and the like ELA books and the like workbook. And she flat out told me, I have it in an email, that she doesn't do the social emotional learning from HMH because there is no time to fit it in during the day. So I did a little bit of digging. And if you go on TikTok and type in HMH social emotional learning, you will have teachers that will tell you it takes them 8 hours to get a lesson together for social emotional learning.
Oh my word.
That's not
8 hours.
8 hours.
How is
I
that
was
conducive when our children are already falling behind because of the mandates that and the masks that they forced and the
right.
segregations? Also under Geist White,
Yes.
I might add.
So I was flabbergasted. I was like, you kidding me? Who has that amount of time? And they said because it's under like all these tabs come up and you have to like click through to find which one you need. And they were like, it's awful.
It is
So
awful.
I haven't found anything currently that I've had to opt her out of because they're not using the social emotional piece out of the curriculum.
So what are they doing with her since they're not using that piece? Are they
It's a
teaching
whole
her
separate,
something
it's like a whole
else?
separate piece to like to
Okay.
every week, I guess. It's like a whole separate piece.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have like the teacher material, but everything that she gives out to the students, I can pull up on Carolyn's iPad.
Okay.
So it's all loaded on there. I haven't found anything yet, but they're also not using, at least her teacher is not using the social emotional piece of the curriculum.
They still have the social emotional class.
They still have Character Strong,
Whatever.
and now they have this
Mm-hmm.
on top of it.
Mm.
So,
Have you
but I
addressed
haven't.
any of this with administration or the school board presently about this HMH?
I have. I have written about, I think once, and I believe I had a conversation with Kelly about it. But again, it's something that if I find something, I have to opt her out of again. Because in my original exemption, now in the exemption, I believe it stated Character Strong, but in the lawsuit, it says any social emotional learning. So I should
Right.
technically not have to opt her out again.
So
No, you should
can you
highlight
guys
that and
maybe,
resend it maybe.
yeah, can you guys sue for contempt of court?
Well,
Because
we
it
should have.
technically isn't it contempt of court?
We should have.
Okay.
It was
Are
brought
you?
and an email was
You
sent
should.
and they corrected course.
Okay.
So
Oh my goodness. So basically, this is disturbing in a couple levels here, guys, because they won the suit, but yet the child is being exposed to social emotional learning. Okay,
I
now
mean,
they're disguising it with different
we already
curriculums.
complain that they're losing so many to homeschool and cyber and whatnot. Now we have
But
talked
whose
about
fault is
putting
it?
her, huh? It's
Whose fault
theirs.
is it? I mean, really, exactly, because we have all this trash indoctrination, because like I stated before, and I'm going to say it again, our kids don't know that 2 plus 2 is 4,
Mm-hmm.
okay? But they know what a furry is.
Right.
They know what
And
transgender is.
Mm-hmm.
I had an issue too that she, after COVID, when they went back to school, what was it, third grade?
No, she was in fourth grade. Oh, with
She
COVID?
went back in third grade.
Yeah, she went back in third grade.
She didn't have spelling third, fourth, or fifth because it was supposed to be second grade, but that was the COVID year. So
this is her first time within
Yes.
West Shore. She's actually had spelling in sixth grade.
And we questioned it a couple times, and they kept telling us, well, we have them sound it out. I said, okay, so she's supposed to sound out the word knife. And I mean,
Good point.
that's how she spells. And I'm like,
Good night.
I'm not gonna discipline you for it, or you know, saying, I mean, like, correct her on how to spell things, but I'm like, that's how you were taught. Like,
To phonetically spell it.
yeah. So now she's
They
learned.
use those nonsense words. And when I saw them, I said, now, this is nonsense, literally.
Mhm.
What
Because
is
it made
nonsense
no
words? Can you
sense
tell
to
the
me.
parents?
Maybe Brandy could explain it better than me.
So it's like
Um,
one, it might be like 1 or 2 letters off from the actual word, but it's
uh-huh.
like instead of, um,
Maybe she did that on.
yeah, it was really weird stuff, but it was
It's
like,
like KCV, or, it's just like jumbled.
yes, but they
Uh,
want you to sound it out.
but you
It's not even
can't.
an actual word.
Yeah, it's not even an actual word. There's no vowels. It's just like a couple consonants together that make no, didn't, I couldn't make rhyme or reason of it. And
Mm-mm.
they're like, oh, I asked the teacher and it was this. And I'm like, okay, you're still going to have to make that make sense to me, because it literally is nonsense.
It's almost like
Like that.
It
shorthand.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're really
It's
just
almost like
taking
shorthand,
that
writing
real
shorthand.
literacy out, like they're
Hmm.
doing with, and then implementing the core literacy, sorry,
I have emailed
because
my daughter.
the Common Core math is going so well, right? So let's
Right.
change the reading scores too.
Yeah.
I mean, and then, what's really stunning in all this, and I'll stop after I say this, but it's really important because Brandy and, Oliver, you may be aware as well. Mariana, we've been discussing this recently, the local parentis policy. I don't know if you've read that. I believe it's in section 8 or 9. Whichever one is community. I don't know it off the top of my head, but
I think I
um,
think it's 8, section 8.
okay. Yeah, 8. Oh, I had it memorized. It's not sticking with me, but anyway, the short of it is they have granted themselves authority they don't have in the Constitution, from the constitutions,
Mhm.
and wrote themselves some statute and some policy, and had the lawyers or school board associations and all these number of people just help them write the policies, and we have no say, in our government that is, they're supposed to be serving us, not harming us,
Right.
making our children's lives more difficult, interrupting their learning, obstructing, harassing you, calling us names, and because we're sticking up for things, or we
Right.
don't agree with, what that particular sect of the community wants to, participate in. It doesn't mean you can run our inherent rights over, or our children, our posterity over, and force it on us, because then, you're getting special privileges in the communities that no one is entitled to. We are all born equally free and, independent, can pursue our own happiness. We all have equal rights. Just you want to be all these other things, and now you want all these other special rights, and you're disturbing the whole peace and safety of the public weal, okay, the public good,
Mhm.
and you're interrupting the learning environment that we're being heavily taxed, burdened with, okay? And we can't see anything. We have to fight to get a little bit of information. Nothing's transparent. And yet they want to stand in this loco parentis as a full scope and authority as a parent would for behavioral, and the medical area is not real clear. Again, that's another open-ended area that I went, Stoltz and I went back and forth for about 15, 20 minutes. And he fought Supreme Court cases. He fought fundamental law maxims, constitutional provisions, which are mandatory. They swear to them. He rebuked it all, didn't want to hear it, because I said, this policy has to go. And this was last year. And he wouldn't budge. But so they irresponsibly placed you got, your daughter, your
Mhm.
young daughter, out in the hallway, but they want to stand in as a full scope of a parent, but weren't responsible for her safety all of a sudden because she wasn't with the program. Is that
Right.
how that works?
Yes.
Really? No, it's not how that works. That's not lawful. So her safety, well, the local parentis, the authority of a full scope parent, they can't have that. That was never granted to them. So it's null and void, essentially. We just have to get our heads around it. And we will. That still does not give them the right to leave her unsafe, unsupervised, like you said, a second curriculum. And they really, put her through a really rough learning journey starting out. No spelling for 3 years. I mean, that
Yeah.
all
Well,
of it is
six.
very just so egregious. I'm really, really
Kindergarten
sorry.
through 5th grade, there was no spelling.
Yeah.
Wow.
I emailed the board several
So
times about it.
But
how are
yet
they
they
going
want
to
to stay
say
in
that they're
school so
preparing
you
our
as a
kids for the
parent.
future? How are they going to say that they're preparing our kids for the future when our kids can't spell, they can't read,
Right.
they can't add? So what are we preparing them for? And then I love this. It's this speaker that comes to the school board. I don't know her name. I don't remember from the top of my head. But if I see her, I recognize her. She's always saying, we have to prepare our children for the
Yeah.
society that they're now living in. This is a different society. So what society are they living in? One that they can't spell, they can't read, they can add. How are we preparing our kids for the future? And
Right.
something that Brandy says, and she's correct, is like there's this whole big thing right now in the West Shore School District. Adam Trong is one of the people always, talking about it. The one that looks like a cockatoo bird with his hair up, that's Adam Trong. Okay. For people who wants to know who he is. Okay. So anyway, he's always, saying how we're losing so much money, to cyber school. And the new candidate, what is her name? Terry Mickle. That's one of the things that she's
Mhm.
harping on in her candidacy. How we're
Yes.
losing money to cyber school, and cyber school is horrible, and the parents are horrible. Who put them. But you know what, guys? Let me tell you. Um, if they're not teaching our kids to spell, they're not teaching our kids to read, they're not teaching our kids anything, yes, put them in cyber school because we have to prepare our kids for the future. Okay. And if that's what we have to do to ensure that they have a future, because, we're not going to live forever, and that they're able to, not only be responsible citizens, but make a living for themselves. Okay,
Right.
then that's what we need to do. And then you add on the violence and the bullying that's happening in the school district, and the uses of drug, which I've been wanting to ask you guys a question, Brandi and Oliver.
Hmm.
When all this started happening, right, that you guys sued, um, were your children bullied, either by staff or by other children in,
Good.
in, in the district?
Carolyn said she would get looks. Um, you know, the students really didn't question, I don't think. Carolyn, did the students question why you leave class every day? Oh, the students question, is anybody mean to you? No, no, no student is mean, but it was
It was probably
talked about by
wondering like,
staff.
why are you leaving
You know,
class? But and that's the one thing we didn't want. We didn't want her to be, even though she is the only one leaving, we didn't want it to be something where it was like making her feel bad or calling her out or and so far I think the teachers have been good about it, especially the one she has this year. But um I think it was the bullying was more directed to us.
yeah, like I said, she got some looks from teachers, and when I approach teachers to find out what the plan is, it's like that deer in the headlights, like, oh crap, she's in my class. You know,
I truly think her
Yeah, I
teacher
know.
this year didn't. I don't think she knew anything about it
no, I don't think she
because
did either.
she just kind of looked at us and she's like, "I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about." And I mean, she obviously knew the curriculum, but she didn't know about her. She didn't know about the fact that she was opted out. Like, I think she did say something that she knew that there was somebody in the school, but she didn't have any information on it. So I blame the school on that one. That's not her fault if they don't tell her
Right.
if they don't give her the information. That's not on the teacher. Like,
No, it's not on the teacher, but it is on the administration because
mm-hmm.
the administration knows what happened. The administration knows that, they're bundling. Okay, they're always bundling around, buffooning around, that their inaction, okay, costs a lawsuit. And yeah, teachers should know, what happened and who are the children involved. And you can't really blame the teacher. Listen, I'll tell you one thing. Again, I'm going to go back to when I was running for school board. We went to the Apple Festival, and I bumped into some teachers, okay, in the West Shore School District. Now, I didn't know they were teachers. They came to me and they told me who they were, and they were whispering because everything was at a whisper, okay, about how a lot of these teachers are not for the social emotional learning. A lot of these teachers are not for this DEI and inclusivity stuff, but they can't speak about it, okay, can't speak up about it because they will lose their job. Now, we have some teachers that are for it and they're very loud about it and they push it because I have had my share, tug of wars with some of these teachers because they know I'll put
Mm-hmm.
them out. I don't care, that they're the loudest ones, and they're the ones indoctrinating our kids. But a lot of the teachers that are forced to give this curriculum, they don't want to do it. Okay, and they're being forced to do it. They're
Right.
being forced to do. So it's, I mean, a lot of what you guys have said is very telling of the problem that we have in the West Shore School District, which is actually, like, I was saying to one of the school board members one time that we were going back and forth on the topic, and I said, if you're really going to look at what's happening in the West Shore School District, the root of it is administration,
Yes.
because administration does not respect the parents authority over their kids. Okay, administration is selling our kids out. And unfortunately, back then when you were, fighting on this, we had a very, very ineffective school board that was in it just for the money, for every
Right.
federal cent they can get, every state, cent that they can get, and they did not care, how it affected you, how it affected your children, how it affected the students, how it affected the schooling, as long as they kept the money coming in. And that says a
Right.
lot, you know now that we are entering into the time of elections again, okay, especially the school board elections, we have Brian Geiswhite, Lemonhead himself, running again for the seat. Okay, after
Right.
he had made a announcement that he wasn't going to run, he decides to run again. Okay, and I am going to impress on the parents, and I'm going to ask you a question: do we need 3 or 4 more years of Lemonhead?
No,
Do
we
we
don't need
need
any.
3 or 4 more years of Brian Geiswhite? Okay, and his bad decisions? Because listen, me as a parent, okay, when I had the issues with the West Shore School District, he and Todd Stokes came at me full guns a blazing in Abigail Cherney. Why? Because I exposed what was behind the doors of those libraries that a lot of the parents weren't taking
Mm-hmm.
time, okay, to find out. All right. So he couldn't say much about it because his wife at the time was a chief librarian. Okay.
Well, she's
His
now
wife at the time
Carolyn's
was
assistant principal.
yeah, and I hear that that's not going very well. A lot of kids do not like her. But back then, she
Mm-mm.
was also the head of the LGBTQ clubs here in the West Shore School District. Okay, so of course he wasn't gonna, say anything because he had to protect his wife, and which I thought was a conflict of interest. How can you be a school board, president, and you have your
Right.
wife pushing this who also works for the school board? Okay. Tierney, we all know that this is the woman that cannot define what she does not have a definition for the word woman. She cannot define what a woman is. Kind of worrisome. I wonder what she identifies as. Shut up, Mariana. Okay, I'm gonna shut up. Okay, so and then we have the taco breathing dragon that all he cares is about bringing in the money and getting his races to buy more tacos. So we had a very ineffective, and I can go down the line and tell you what each and every one is about. Stowe Embers was just disgusting as how he's treated his family, but I can tell you what each and every one of them it's about. I think the only one at the time that's still a conservative was Heidi Thomas. Okay, but it's sad to the point that we, the parents of the West Shore School District, had to take this to court and actually sue the school board in order for their rights as parents to be protected and for their children not to be exposed to this trash. And here you have the first page page, okay, where they are suing the West Shore School District, and they started with the taco eating dragon himself, Todd Stokes, because all this comes down to, the root of it is administration. We have a problem with the administrator in the West Shore School District not respecting the parents, not respecting the kids. We have a problem with an administrator that he doesn't care what kind of trash he's going to bring into the school. An administrator that his solution to everything is tax to the max. So, this is something that I really would encourage the board to take a look at. Okay. And that the core, the root, there's always a root to everything. And in the West Shore School District is the administration. Then you have the tree at the time. The tree gave poisonous fruit, which is Guy White and everybody else who was on that board. Okay, so it was a bad combination. Now we have a parents that won. Okay, they were victorious in their suit. However, they are still, the way I see it, and please correct me, guys, if you think I am wrong. I mean, I don't have a problem with if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But the way I'm seeing this, okay, now we have parents that have to continue to go through this process of opting out their kids because even though they won, they're still truly, if you really come to see it, not fully honoring, okay, what was won and the terms of that victory. So it is time, guys, that we clean out the West Shore School District. Brandy and Oliver, is there anything else that you want to share with us in reference to this ordeal that you went through?
Well, I've been sitting here going through the fourth grade curriculum for Character Strong, and it has changed. Those
Oh,
examples are no longer there.
What is that?
oh,
The examples
okay.
of the game, never have I ever. I can't find them.
Oh,
Um, the what would you like to be called is no longer there.
that's good.
Okay, well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm
Now,
gonna
is
use
I'm
this a
wondering if
recent
they
change?
are
Has it been changed
season.
within the next?
what.
I'm sorry. I was just wondering if they.
I wonder if this had to do anything with the Trump executive orders.
I don't know. I'll send you guys the link though. You just have
Okay.
to
I would
put
love
your
to see
name
it.
and the school district, and it lets you in.
Awesome. Um,
Definitely, I would love to see it.
yeah, the BH Logics, where all the mental health is, and etc. All that too. Their website has changed again. I was in there today and I was on the Department of Ed site looking for that section with the new wording that we were talking about today in the chat. Can't find it. They've changed, altered it. And like I said, I didn't know since January if they took a lot of this stuff out. And maybe my thought, what I was going to say a couple minutes ago, are they asking some of this stuff in person to
Right.
the children, and they're just not putting it on the paper as part of the curriculum,
Right.
no matter what it is. So that was my question or thought, I guess.
I mean, we were
That could very
raised
well be.
completely different. Like I went to public school. He was private school all the way through college. Like, so I didn't have a problem sending, Carolyn and Caden, his dad and I have to decide that, but didn't have a problem sending her. It was when COVID hit that really opened our eyes to like, what is happening?
And you're right. A lot of parents are saying it's when COVID hit, when down they're studying from home, that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the parents. I remember when the boys started learning from home. I was working from home also. So I went upstairs, I think it was to find out the lunch hour or whatever. And I remember hearing all this pronoun stuff. And I was like, what am I hearing here? You know what I'm saying? And I popped in and I looked at one of the boys and he's like, oh my goodness, she's here. Like, so they're in that age. Oh my goodness, not cool. She's there. And I'm like, what are you listening to? And the teacher was quiet on the other side. So I thought it was a video. I thought it was some sort of YouTube trash or whatever. I was about to tell him to turn it off when I realized that it was a school. And when my husband came home, I said, yeah, we got something to discuss here. Okay, that
Well,
2020 pandemic, okay, really opened the doors for the parents to see what was happening behind the schoolhouse. So although this pandemic, was what it was, in many ways, aspects of it was a blessing because we were able to see what's happening behind our school doors.
Right. I mean, he had witnessed a lesson with Caden that, okay, so Caden's in learning support classes, has been the entire way through school. And he was in middle school at the time, and he walked in on a history lesson.
Yeah, it was, I don't remember exactly the details, but they were going over, I think it was like pre-Civil War, might even been like 1700s, I don't remember. But they were going over like history of slaves, which I don't have a problem in learning that.
But they need to learn the whole history, not just.
But it wasn't just what they were saying. It was, they were basically, in not so many words, saying that white people have been raised and trained to be racist, and black people have always been inferior to white people. I'm like, huh? Like, well, what are you?
Yes.
What are you listening to? And
It was like an Ed puzzle thing. Like it was a video he was watching.
yeah, it was a video. It wasn't like the
Yes,
teacher
my
saying, "Here's the video
sons,
that you're watching."
exactly what Oliver's saying. My sons came with that mess in their head as though they had, because they're my husband's white, as though they had to apologize because they were white. I'm like, you don't have to apologize to anybody. First and foremost, you judge people by their character, not by
Right.
their color. So
Right.
if you're a thief and you wind up in jail and they call you a thief, well, don't get so emotional about it because you prove to us that you're a thief, and
Right.
you respect people regardless of what their color, their creed, even their
Right.
lifestyle choice is. I have people in my
Right.
family who are LGBTQs. They know I don't agree with their lifestyle, but I love them. They love me. I respect them. They respect me,
Right.
so it has nothing to do with that, but they don't sit down to try and indoctrinate my kids.
Right.
Okay. And what you were saying, the history, I mean, the boys have a teacher that was teaching them that capitalism is wrong. Okay. And practically teaching communism in Cedar Cliff High School.
Oh
In Cedar
no.
Cliff High School. The kids came home one day, right, telling me how President Abraham Lincoln was a Democrat. I nearly fell off my chair. I'm like, boy, get off the TV. He's like, I didn't see it on TV. The teacher told me that. I was like, what? Okay. So yeah, they're coming home with a lot of what I would say communistic doctrines. Okay. Wrong history. Absolutely wrong history. And confused. But we're West Shore proud. West Shore proud of what? West
Right.
Shore proud of what?
I mean,
You know? Did you guys see the PSSA scores?
yeah, that was awful. I had
Mhm.
kids here that they're not mine. Like I was keeping them because they couldn't be in school. And his teacher would take personal phone calls in the middle of class.
Yeah,
Jeez.
we actually requested that Carolyn not have that
Yes.
teacher, but
We personally requested for her not to have that teacher.
It's
She
like
was
there's
not
really
nice,
no professionalism going on.
period. Like she was
From
not
the
nice.
administration, the principals, the teachers. I
If
mean,
you
not
were her
all of them,
favorite,
of course, but
then you were fine.
and some of the stuff, like you said, you got to see behind the doors. Now this kid is on the spectrum, and he probably shouldn't have been in regular ed class. But besides that, he was there. He was,
Because he was a face on a screen.
yeah. Now he listened. Didn't look like he was, but he took in a lot more information than you realized. But she would give him scavenger hunts. So she had all the other kids doing their thing, and she'd be like, "Okay, go find something green." And he'd be like, "I need something green." I'm like, "What?"
Well, go. There's a whole room full of toys. Like,
Yeah.
go find something.
And literally,
Yeah.
she was just giving him something to do to get him to keep him occupied while she taught the other kids. I'm like, what the hell is that? I
Mhm.
mean, not our kid, but yeah, it just that's the kind of stuff that blew me away with the.
And we would love to put Carolyn in a Christian school, pull her out and put her there. Um, it's just not feasible, one. And two, even to put her like asynchronous days are better than like when they have to switch
It's
to
still not.
like a 2 hour delay and then it closes and
Mhm.
everything's online. It is awful. She absolutely hates it. She can't stand it. So putting her in a cyber
It is
school
awful.
would not be a good option for
No,
her.
it's not for everybody. Some people it's fine, but and like
I mean,
Brand,
it took her a long time to be able to go to school and not cry every day. Kindergarten was awful.
yeah,
Let me just say.
And it shouldn't
That
be
hurts
that
my
way. I
heart.
mean, kids
No,
they should enjoy going to school and being with their friends and learning and new
She
challenges.
she
And it's not,
does.
it's pulling teeth nowadays.
Her
It's pulling
anxiety
teeth.
though is so bad
And whose
that
fault is that?
well, part of
West
it
Shore
is
proud.
because I didn't go back to work after I had her. She was home with me every day. So,
Okay.
I mean, she literally tried getting off the bus after she was on it. It was bad. But then it would also depend too, like on how things went in the morning, like when Caden was here, because if he was having a rough morning, it was awful.
Mhm.
I would call the
Mhm.
school, I'd email the teacher, be like, hey, heads up, this is what's happening. You know, she would cry, but by the time she got to school, she was okay. But now, even with the opt
Well, I
out,
will tell
her
the parents this
walking out
because
of class, that that was like, I'm like, look, I'm like, it's okay. You're not going to get in trouble for getting out of class. Well, what happens if they make me go to the office? And I'm like, if you get put in the office because of this, I said there'll be another issue, but you're not going to have to worry about that.
as it should be, as it should
Right.
be. But I'll tell you this, we're ready to wrap up, guys, okay? But I will say this. First of all, we like I stated before, we need more parents like Brandi and Oliver. Parents that are gonna, take it up a notch. You're gonna play with my kids, let's go at it. Okay. And we'll see how this ends up because it's not gonna end up well for you. We need more parents with backbone and more parents to be vocal. Now I was trying to convince Brandy, right, to run for school board, but she said no. So I'm gonna try to hopefully and pray that Oliver might run
Why
for
am I
school board
not
because
allowed
we
to
need more
attend
men.
school board
But anyway,
meetings?
still not got money.
that being stated, I'll tell you, I will say this, parents, okay? Our kids are facing so many different challenges. They're facing so many different challenges in the schools, okay? And, in life in itself. However, but getting back to school, if the public school system is not working for you, yes, there's cyber school. If the public school system is not working for you, there's homeschool. Okay. Now, mind you, not everybody has the flexibility and the ability to homeschool, but if you can, do it. If the public school is not working for you, there's private Christian academies, and they can be expensive. But there are, Christian academies out there that does offer tuition assistance, and you may want to look into those. I may be able to develop a list for you if you so need it. Okay. You have to do whatever you have to do to protect your child because at the end of the day, it's your child. At the end of the day, you are the one accountable to God for whatever happens to that child. Okay. So if you have to go and you have to, stir the waters at the school board and at the administration, then you do what you need to do to protect your kids because at the end of the day, that's your inherent right. Your kids belong to you, not to the state, not to the school, not to the district, and not to the government. Okay. They want to make these government schools, and this is what we're battling. Parents of the West Shore School District continue to push forward, continue to push for these surveys and these curriculums to be opt in versus opt out. Do not let them get away with it. You have to be vocal. You have to use your voice because if we don't do it, who's going to do it? If we don't protect our kids, who's going to protect them? Okay, we have another election coming up, and we started last year to clean out the West Shore School District. We got to finish that work. We have veteran school board members that were involved in this situation with the social emotional learning that we must vote out. We must vote out because all they're doing there is taking space and breathing air. That's it because they're ineffective. We have to bring people that really have the heart of our children. And people that's going to respect your voice and your rights as parents, and people hopefully that understands the Pennsylvania Constitution, what they can do and they cannot do. Okay, because these are the days that we're living. With that being stated, Oliver, I'm gonna leave this to you. What would you say to every father out there? Talk from the heart, brother.
Um, I mean, just what you said, just to stand up for your kids and to not just go along with everything that they push on us. That pay attention to what um, the kids are bringing home from school, and
I mean, every kid has a device. It's
yeah,
all on their devices. It has to be because of remote days.
and just be involved.
Very good. I like that. Be involved. Because dads, you have to be involved. We need more Papa Bears out here. We need more Papa Bears using their voices and coming to battle. We need your voices. We need your backbone because you know what? This board, most of the men on this board do not respect these women. Okay. And we're constantly battling out there with the machete. And that machete, guys, and that sword, guys, it gets heavy. Sometimes we need you guys to come like football players and do whatever you guys do on that field because I don't know what those maneuvers are called, but you do. Okay. Go ahead and do that and, get that touchdown because we need you guys. Okay. And I applaud you, Oliver. I applaud you for coming forth. Now, that being stated, any last word from Miss Denise or Brandi?
Just if you feel something is
No?
off, look into it.
Read
There you go.
everything
There you
thoroughly.
go.
Um, and if you're having trouble, reach out to Mariana, myself, perhaps Brandi. Brandi, you're working, we're all working, but we will take time to help you if you need help understanding something, and we'll help you look it up and break it down if you need help. But pay attention to everything because they're not giving full disclosure with these assessments and these different things coming down through with behavioral health or whatever it may be. And if the parents aren't, if they're busy and they're just, trying to hurry up and sign a paper thinking that their kids are secure, and they really don't know what's in these surveys. Like we really had to fight to get a little bit of transparency, and they still didn't honor the two-step consent that was supposed to be in place from BH Works and from the school, from the parents. So they just skipped over that, and this is where Mrs. Tierney and Mr. Turn will hurry up and motion things that I'm just going to put it out there that are the most nefarious. They are on it now. They may change their pattern because I put it out there, but pay attention because they give you clues if you watch them and then you go and see what's within it and you're like, oh, well, now I know why you were so quick to motion it because they didn't want anybody taking time to question it or have discussion too much. They just wanted to shove it through. And we really pushed back on that one. I don't know how much of a difference it made. I think we made a decent dent in it, but we didn't get what we were supposed to get lawfully because the administration doesn't honor the law. And that's just that. That's been 5 years in the making now. So we have plenty of evidence and the harms are still continuing. Look, your daughter has now, severe anxiety. They put her through too much, and probably your son as well. And you guys as parents, it's unacceptable. And we know you're not the only ones,
Right.
So, but thank you for sharing everything with, the parents and the public because, many people may not know. And this is, I'm glad you're able to speak out and have a voice because the press surely isn't going to give us that seat at the table right now. We're not, we want freedoms and, to be able to live how God intended us to live and use good judgment and live, righteously, want the right things for our children. and it doesn't align with their agenda. So they can then suddenly start throwing the labels at us. Well, you can call me whatever you wish is kind of my attitude because it doesn't change my perspective. I know who I am. It's very
Right.
annoying.
Right.
I think we all are at, sitting here. So, but someone that isn't might get thrown off by them and they might get stronger. So if you're feeling nervous, take somebody with you, another parent, another mom, a dad, or, if it's another dad, go kind of use the buddy system because it's too easy for them to run one person over, even one couple. But you're better together for sure. And we talked a little bit about that today. So try to leave a little bit of strength in numbers so we can help each other, and that way nobody is. It's harder for them to run over if we
Right.
can build those numbers out a little bit. But that's really all I wanted to say. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I want to say one last thing, and that is parents, become familiar with the PPRA. Okay, because the PPRA is giving you seven, I think it's seven or is it nine? I think it's seven list of items, categories that they are not to allow to ask your children in schools, in surveys, in curriculums. Like, is there a gun at home? Is there a lot of arguing in your home? Do you feel like you can trust your mom and dad? Do you feel like you can trust your minister? There are questions there that they cannot ask. And a lot of these curriculums and these surveys coming in is in direct violation of the PPRA, including that health evaluation that they passed. Okay. And they know it because we made sure that they knew. Okay.
Right.
So before you agree to any surveys, before you agree, I mean, read and also make sure, if you have the right to see what is in those surveys. Okay. And if you see that something violates the PPRA, be vocal about it, speak in the school board, send emails, contact your reps, whatever you have to do, rattle the cage to let them know and let the parents know this is not right and this is unlawful. So, with that being stated, I want to thank Oliver and Brandy for coming to the boiling point and sharing their saga with us. Okay, and thank you for not killing me of a heart attack, because I almost had a heart attack there. And it's been great, but parents, we got to continue to fight, fight, fight. When it comes to the upcoming election, say no to Guys White. Say no to Mickles. Say no to Danowski. Say no to tyranny. Say no to anybody who is befriending somebody that has purple hair and pink hair and all this other stuff. Okay, who likes pronouns? Because what they're trying to do, especially Mikko and Dankowski, is bring more of this mess into the West Shore School District. We are in the process of cleaning it out. We need to finish cleaning out the West Shore School District for the safety of our kids and the education and future of our children. It's time to bring back scholastic excellence to the West Shore School District. So, with that, this is Mariana from the Boiling Point. I'm signing out and thank you guys. I am so proud of you guys and keep fighting. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.